Why is she grabbing all these things? What is she trying to accomplish by grabbing all these things? It makes the viewer feel very awkward. Hi there, I'm Sadie. Just over a year ago, Meghan Markle was on Drew Barrymore's show where she did a Fast Five questions segment. It's a very short clip. It's only about 4 minutes long. So today we're just going to take a quick look at it. And the reason why is because Meghan Markle is back in the news again as usual. And this somehow managed to pop up on my feed, and I figured that it'd be a really great opportunity to just look at some of the odd behaviors that I noticed. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
When was the last time you were surprised and delighted?
Last night, and also this morning, but last night when I went back to my hotel.
So she starts off with saying last night with this big smile on her face. And then she says, but also this morning, which doesn't really answer the question. It kind of sidesteps it. And it's a weird thing to throw in there because she starts off answering the question and then all of a sudden she just kind of goes to and this morning, but she doesn't actually finish that thought of this morning. What happened this morning? I want you to take a look at her eyes. Her blink rates throughout this entire thing is something that we should all be paying attention to. Typically when you see a blink rate spike up like this, it's because there's a stress point within this conversation. It's a conversation that maybe they're not so comfortable with having, which is bizarre, once again, to see this when you're talking about a surprise from your husband and your kids. This isn't something that usually brings stress to people, but in this case, it does seem to be very stressful for her.
There was this sweet card from my kids and my husband saying, "We're so proud of you, Mama, and congrats on the show," and with flowers.
Right at the end of that sentence, she adds, with flowers. Like she forgot to mention the card was with flowers. She just kind of throws that in on the end, which makes me feel like there's a lot of stress and pressure that she's feeling right here for some reason. And that matches up with the blink rate. I don't know why she has a raise in blink rate at this moment when she's talking about her husband and her kids doing this wonderful thing for her. There should be no stress when she's talking about something that she was surprised by.
And I just thought, okay, here we go. And I felt so loved. So that he had planned it in advance to make sure it was there when I got to my hotel room.
She feels the need to describe exactly what happened again after saying this. It wasn't just the surprise of showing up to her hotel room and seeing this card. She has to say, because he had planned it in advance to make sure that it was there when I got to the hotel room. It was really sweet. She's not talking about the surprise itself. She's talking about how the surprise was organized, which is, again, very strange.
It was really sweet.
Okay, what's your favorite thing that you see in your kids that you go, oh, that's their dad? Like,
Oh, some of the words that they still say with a British accent. So they'll say zebra. And what else do they say?
Rather than answering the question about who they are or how they act like their dad, she says words that they say. And she says one word that they say, which is zebra. When I am asked about my kids and how they are like their father, or if there is something that I see in my kids that is very similar to their father, I think of who they are as people as opposed to what they say. Now, granted, there is an English accent thrown in the mix, so it could make sense as to why she's responding in that way. But I just find it really interesting that rather than answering who they are as individuals, what they are like personality-wise, she goes into what they say. It just seems very distant. It's more personal when it's something that they do as opposed to something that they say.
So they'll say zebra. And what else do they say?
Her blink rate spikes and she looks up away, which is eye avoidance. She's not looking directly at Drew and she's trying to remember another example, but she can't think of anything. She can't think of anything else.
They have these little moments where it comes out, and because they have very American accents.
Very interesting how she needs to mention that they have very American accents rather than having British accents, which I feel like is another one up for her because she's American and she's brought them to America rather than having them live in England. Very often she just wants to make sure that she's won the battle of where they're staying. So I think this is another way of her saying, you know, I win. But again, that's just my opinion.
But they say words that are just like him, and I think it's adorable. Zebra's a good one.
You see her doing a bit of a shoulder shrug, a single shoulder shrug. So whenever you see a single shoulder shrug, that typically means that they are uncertain with their response. Again, this is something that she shouldn't be uncertain about. This is something that you should know immediately.
Zebra, I love it. Okay, is Suits called...
All of a sudden, we see her face. She's got that smile, and it just drops off her face in a flash. She's definitely in performance mode. I mean, obviously, you need to be performative in front of an audience, but the way that her smile drops off her face like that is just very interesting. It doesn't just gradually go away. It literally just drops off her face.
Is Suits called Suits because of lawsuits or because everybody wears a suit?
Oh, it's a great question. Do you know that it wasn't originally named that?
Immediately she has a response, and she's very comfortable with answering this question. So when you look at the way that she's answering this question compared to the last two questions that we just looked at, there's a huge difference in how she's reacting. She seems very at ease talking about Suits when she goes, "Did you know?" And immediately she has the inside scoop, which is very strange. Once again, you would think that she would have that kind of reaction when talking about her husband and her kids.
Really?
The show was first going to be called A Legal Mind, meaning like a play on illegal mind, a legal mind. And then it got changed at the last minute to Suits for both reasons, for lawsuits and for the fashion.
Her blink rate is completely back to normal. She's doing a normal blink rate. She's not eye blocking, but she's also trying to get the audience involved as well, which is different from how she was trying to gain a reaction from them before when she said zebra. Instead, she's really trying to get them in on the inside scoop, and she loves this.
Okay, do you have a latest food craving?
I also find it very funny that it cuts to the audience, and the audience just do not seem like they are enjoying it whatsoever.
I'm just always on the search for the best hot sauce. So that's what I'm constantly craving.
Once again, we see her respond to this question almost immediately. I'm just always on the search for the best hot sauce. And she's nodding as she's saying it, and she's very sure of herself. She's very certain about what she's saying. She knows the answer that she's going to give. Where was this during the questions about the children?
All right. What is a fashion trend that you would love to see come back?
Ooh, I wore some.
She's very into this question. She loves talking about fashion, and she kind of prepares herself. She puts her hair back, which she doesn't need to do. She's only doing that for the sake of making herself look presentable before she says what she's about to say.
A few weeks ago, my husband and I were in Canada for the Invictus Games.
But then all of a sudden, she mentions her husband, and her blink rate spikes once more.
A few weeks ago, my husband and I were in Canada for the Invictus Games. And
it seems that she needs to add in that my husband and I were in Canada for the Invictus Games. So far, the only time that we've seen her blink rate spike in this way is whenever she mentions her husband. This is a very strange behavior, because you'd think that her husband would be something that she's as comfortable talking about as she was talking about the hot sauce or her show Suits. It's only during that one sentence where she mentions her husband that her blink rate is up, and then it just goes back to normal as soon as she continues answering the question.
A few weeks ago, my husband and I were in Canada for the Invictus Games, and I just love a wide leg trouser. So when wide leg jeans, skinny jeans, great, they have a place, but it was nice to be able to have a flare. I just miss that.
A wide leg.
Yeah, wide leg.
Again, it cuts to the audience, and we see another woman who's just looking like she's got contempt on her face. She's not really smiling at all. She's just there. In this whole appearance, the audience just makes me laugh so much, because even when Meghan Markle first walks in to the Drew Barrymore show, you see the audience it's not reacting in the way that you would think Meghan would, well, certainly that Meghan wants.
Delicious.
Would you ever pipe the jam?
No. Well, I made this texture for a reason. I really thought it was important that instead of having something that's thick that you have to have a knife to spread.
You can see the way that she talks normally. She's very certain about what she's saying. There's no shoulder shrugs when she's giving instructions on how to do something. And she's very expressive with her face and her eyebrows. She's just very normal. This is within her baseline. This is a simple conversation where there's no stress involved.
You know, you have some yummy nibbles.
And with that thumbprint and the hands, everybody here is going to have the conveyance.
Meghan starts to scramble. It seems that I'm not sure really what she's doing, but she's grabbing so many things that are in front of her, and she's grabbing the jam, she's grabbing the napkins, she's putting it under the plate, and then she's just, there's so many things that are going on right here that I just don't understand what she's doing. The only thing I can really assume is that she's trying to make it so that she can pose with it and be beside Drew and have it so it looks nice.
Everybody here is going to have the conveyance of the love and the thoughtfulness and that beautiful handmade caring aspect.
This entire time she's looking at Drew, trying to see what Drew is doing. Meanwhile, she's grabbing all these things and trying to figure out what to do with them. It seems that she's just scrambling.
Everyone here is going to be able to imbibe, enjoy, indulge.
Then Meghan starts talking over Drew, and it's both of them are talking at the same time, and it's just a very awkward situation that we're seeing. And it's just very strange because why is she grabbing all these things? What is she trying to accomplish by grabbing all these things? It makes the viewer feel very awkward. But that's not even the worst thing that happens within this clip. So just wait.
Oh my gosh. Look at your little face. Oh, that's so sweet. That is so special. And that you had it here. Oh.
I was lucky enough.
She passes it along to Drew, and Drew takes it and faces it towards the audience and holds it so proudly. This is somebody who had so much respect for Diana that this was a moment in her life that she will always treasure. And this is just something that's very true. When you meet somebody that you respect so much and you have that moment of just being in complete awe about who they are as a person and being so happy to meet your heroes, that is how she is viewing it. And it's such a beautiful moment that Meghan just cannot connect with.
I was lucky enough to...
I also noticed that there on the side is a smudge from Meghan's finger because she's obviously been doing the cookies. And so the fact that she took the photo with greasy fingers, greasy thumb, and smudged it is just, and you see it on the camera, and then Drew covers it up so that it doesn't look like it's dirty. It just makes me feel sad because that's what Meghan thought of it. She knew her hands were dirty, but she didn't avoid touching it. She could have held it differently so that it wouldn't get her thumbprint on it, but instead she just smudged it, which is very sad when it comes to Drew looking at how she feels about this image of her and Princess Di. Like it's obviously very special for her, and it just seems like that smudge is just the stain of Meghan's resentment.
That's really special.
The only thing that Meghan can really say is that it's really special. That's really special. But there's not really any other emotion that she can say beyond that. That's how special that is. There's no other sentiment. There's no other word to describe how wonderful that is that she was able to meet her, or it's how sweet it is that she still has that framed picture just sitting in her office that she's got in front of her.
It means so much to me to have met such an incredible human being that transcended everything. It was the honor of my life.
The entire time that Drew was talking and expressing how excited she was to meet such an incredible human being that transcended everything, it was the honor of my life. Meghan's just sitting there with a smile on her face, And it's not a genuine Duchenne smile. You can tell that she's just sitting there waiting to see what Drew is going to say next. Because in a way, it seems that she thinks that she's talking about her. She wants so much for the words that Drew is saying to be about her, Meghan, that she's just sitting there waiting for it. And when she realizes that it's not her that she's talking about.
Oh my gosh, well, I will tell H that for sure. And yeah,
Okay. Cool.
She completely shuts off and she shifts her body completely away from Drew. She looks down and she eye blocks. She's avoiding Drew completely. Her arms close off. She moves away from her. She doesn't know what to say because she realizes that it's not about her. She says that she will tell H that for sure. And yeah, she just pauses. She freezes completely.
Oh my gosh, well, I will tell H that for sure. And yeah,
And it's such an awkward moment that even Drew doesn't know how to react to it. So she goes, okay.
Okay. Cool.
There's so much tension. You just can't look away. And then she tries to laugh it off and tries to bond with her, even bringing up her arm to touch her. And she's at a complete loss for what to say. There's no reason for her to be laughing. She's very uncomfortable. She's visibly uncomfortable. But it's just strange because instead of agreeing with her and saying, wow, like that is such an incredible moment, you're so lucky, or saying something like, she really was an incredible person. Instead, she just shuts down the conversation completely. What did you think of the whole interaction? Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.